create jobs, support small businesses, and rebuild a stronger and more resilient economy. Kamala Harris is a leader we can trust, even in our most challenging moments, especially in those moments. Donald Trump dithers, Kamala Harris delivers. Donald Trump abandons vulnerable people, Kamala Harris protects them. Donald Trump bullies scientists, Kamala Harris believes them. Our next two speakers will tell us why that's so important. Please welcome Brian Wallach and Sandra Abravaya.
In 2008, we met while working on the Obama-Biden campaign. We found our way there because we believe in the power of organizing. Then we found each other. The day we brought our second daughter home from the hospital, Brian was diagnosed with ALS. I was told I had 6 months to live. That was 7 years ago. We could not change Brian's diagnosis, but we knew how to organize. So we co-founded a nonprofit called I Am ALS, and thousands of terminally ill patients fought for new therapies, $1 billion to fund ALS research, and earlier access to treatments, all of which President Biden signed into law. We will also keep fighting alongside patients living with Parkinson's, young onset dementia, and Alzheimer's. We've seen just how relentless activism can beat the odds, just like what Brian has been doing for 7 years. And that is what we need right now to elect Kamala Harris. She's the daughter of a breast cancer researcher. She knows the promise of science and that patients need to be able to get the care they need wherever they live. We all want to make life better for the next generation and believe that people like Brian can be the first generation of survivors. And we can make life better for our caregivers, too. Brian and I are still driven by hope and by faith in what we can do collectively, and that includes the power of our vote. This November, we are voting for our future. Because we plan to be around for it.
I've known Brian and Sandra for years. In fact, Sandra was my personal press secretary. You will not find a more courageous couple. Let's give Brian and Sandra another round of applause. In every election campaign, we Democrats talk about jobs. Now forget for a moment Donald Trump's wild claims. He lost millions of jobs in America. He promised to bring back manufacturing jobs, but he failed. He promised to deliver infrastructure, but he failed. His record was defined by failure. To put it another way, Donald Trump is like a bad boss. You want time off to take care of your sick parents? Ask Donald Trump. Denied. In Donald Trump's America, there is no paid family leave. Want to have a child, but need IVF? Too bad. That's shut down too. Want a pay raise? Too bad. The boss just gave himself one, so there's nothing left for you. Donald Trump reminds us of a boss we all had. The guy who thinks he's a very stable genius, but is driving the company into the ground. Now get this, Donald Trump did make history. Let's give him credit. He is one of only 2 presidents in the history of the United States to leave office with fewer Americans working than when he started. Now he wants a chance to make America unemployed again. On the other hand, let's take a look at the record of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They recovered all those millions of jobs that Trump watched slip away. They added over 6 million jobs on top of that. 16 million jobs in total. 16 million. Today, more roads are getting fixed, more factories are being built, more Americans are working construction, and more auto workers are making cars than on any month when Trump was president. And we know behind every job is a person or community forever changed. Data centers in Wisconsin, semiconductors in Pennsylvania, electric vehicles in Michigan. Yes. Hello, Michigan. These investments mean strong economy, growing public schools, and well-funded, well-staffed first responders. These investments mean hope. That's what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are fighting for. They'll fight for the places that are too often left behind. Fight to change lives and uplift communities. Fight to bring back American manufacturing. My friend, Ed Smith, a giant of the Illinois laborers, he's a great fellow. We lost him this year. But Ed Smith told us there's joy in this battle. When we win, we help people buy their first homes, send their kids to college, and retire with dignity. Incidentally, that happens to be my family story too. My mom and dad worked for the railroad, and because we were a strong union family, we were able not just to get by, but to get ahead. That's the American economy Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are fighting for. Let's join that fight and build it together. Now let's hear from some union workers on the ground in Arizona, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration investment in America.
Harris actually did it. Thanks to them, plumbers and pipe fitters like us are building the factories, semiconductor plants, and data centers of the future. We are hard at work in Phoenix, Mesa, Goodyear, Chandler, and more. Our neighborhoods, schools, and local businesses are growing. Sometimes we have so many projects that we send fabrication out to other states. Our local union is now up to 4,800 trades members. That's up from 2,800 in 2020, thanks to Joe and Kamala.
And it's an exciting time for us in the next generation. Our apprenticeship program now trains over 1,100 people a year. Every year at local high schools, when they announce what graduated seniors are doing next, more and more of these kids are joining the trades. My son is a senior in high school this year, and he plans to join us. And not just for the great career and the financial security that all us parents want for our kids, but it's because he's excited to work on the cutting edge of innovation. Kamala Harris will keep investing in American manufacturing. With her commitment, there's nothing that us American workers can't build.
Please welcome Ohio Representative Joyce Beatty.
And I'm proud to represent Ohio in Congress. I was born in the Buckeye State, and I've never left. Now, J.D. Vance likes to talk about how he's from Ohio, but as soon as he could, he ran away to Yale and Silicon Valley, cozying up with billionaires while trashing our communities. J.D. has been our senator for 18 months. And what has he done for hard-working Americans? Nothing. He's been busy writing the foreword to the book from the Project 2025 guy. While J.D. and Donald Trump have been sharing conspiracy theories from the darkest corners of our internet, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been busy expanding access to the internet, while the other guys have been criticizing women without children. Joe and Kamala have been expanding the child tax credit. And let me just tell you, cutting the poverty rate for our children. Kamala and Joe Biden have been also at the same time reducing the price of health care for our seniors. And yes, securing a cap of $35 on insulin. And as J.D. and Trump, they want to take us back to the past. Kamala and Joe have been bringing the jobs of the future to America today. With the CHIPS Act, a $280 billion investment. And that's not just a big number. It means new semiconductor plants and thousands of good-paying jobs. You see, I worked with Kamala to pass it, and I saw her leadership style up close, a rare combination of brilliance, legal expertise, and patience. You see, it's simple. J.D. and Trump like to talk about states like Ohio, but Kamala and Joe actually get stuff done for us. And so does our next vice president and my good friend, Governor Tim Walz. Are you ready to build on our progress? Are you ready to turn out for leaders who know that action speaks louder than words? Are you ready to vote for Kamala Harris? Are you ready to put people over politics once and for all? Well, the era of joy and freedom is up on us. And now it is on us to go seize it. Thank you. God bless you.
Union yes! Union yes! Union yes! Union yes! All right. I'm Lee Saunders, president of AFSCME, a union of 1.4 million public service workers in healthcare, corrections, sanitation, and more. 4 years ago, we faced a pandemic and a recession with a president who didn't care one bit what working people were going through. Enter Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Within weeks, they passed the American Rescue Plan, pulling the economy back from the brink and putting us back to work. They're guided by a basic principle: more freedom for working people, including the freedom to join a union. So this November, we're moving forward with Kamala Harris as our president.
And I am the president of SEIU, representing 2 million service and care workers. We're all in for Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris has always been all in for us. Vice President Harris joined fast food workers on the picket line, and she walked a day in the shoes of a home care worker. She shares our vision for a modern-day labor movement, a movement that meets the needs of workers in the 21st century, and an economy that is ready for the future. It is going to be together that we write new rules to make it easier for all workers to join a union. And we are going to build a younger, darker, hipper, fresher, sneaker-wearing labor movement. A movement that is going to be more inclusive and built for the middle class. And we are going to end poverty wage work for once and for all. So let's do the work. Let's elect Kamala Harris so that together we will usher in a new era of worker power, and together we will win the future. Let's go get it.
I'm Brent Booker, and I'm proud to represent LIUNA, the Laborers International Union of North America. We're construction workers, public employees, and postal mail handlers. For decades, we've fought for more investment in our infrastructure. While Trump made empty promises, the Biden-Harris administration delivered. Now we're rebuilding highways, bridges, and tunnels, and powering a clean energy and manufacturing boom. Thanks to them, our members can buy a home, put their kids through school, retire with dignity. As president, Kamala Harris will keep fighting for workers who are building America. Hello, I'm Kenny Cooper, representing 840,000 IBW members, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. The IBW powers America, from fire alarms to solar farms, nuclear plants to battery plants, storm restoration to power lines, and we've been doing it for over 130 years. Today, we're building a new energy future while providing great-paying jobs and a stable retirement for all working families. Every step of the way, Kamala Harris has been there for us. She's bringing back American manufacturing to forgotten places throughout our country. She cast the deciding vote to save our pension plans. She's lifted our apprentices up all over the nation. And guess what? She's not afraid to use the word union. She has came through for all of us, and it's our turn to come through for her. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Claude Cummings, Jr., President of CWA, the Communication Workers of America. We all saw the digital divide during the pandemic. Millions of American families didn't have access to high-speed internet at home. Too many kids were forced to go online class in McDonald's parking lots. But as Vice President, Kamala Harris helped pass the largest investment in broadband ever. She gave CWA members a seat at the table so we could work to connect every household to the internet while creating good union jobs. Listen, we don't play at CWA. And we're fired up. Are you fired up tonight? Are you fired up? Are you fired up? We're fired up to work with our next president, Kamala Harris.
I'm Liz Schuler, president of the AFL-CIO. Representing nearly 13 million American workers. This election is about two economic visions. One where families live paycheck to paycheck, where people have no right to join a union. A CEO's dream, but a worker's nightmare. Or an opportunity economy, where we lower the costs of groceries, prescriptions, and housing, where we go after big pharma, corporate landlords, and price gougers, where there's no such thing as a man's job or a woman's job, or like Donald Trump would say, a black job. Just a good union job. That's the future our President Joe Biden has fought for. And that's the future Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will keep fighting for. Let's build it together.
Are you as excited as I am? I've known Kamala Harris for almost 20 years. Our bond was forged years ago by a shared commitment to children, a belief that it is everyone's responsibility to care for every child, no matter where they come from and no matter who their parents are. Kamala knows that each generation has an obligation to the next. That's why, when I was Speaker of the State Assembly and she was a prosecutor, we fought to address youth homelessness and reform the child welfare system. We wanted to make sure that California's foster youth aren't cut off and left on their own the day they turn 18. As Attorney General, Kamala created our state's Bureau of Children's Justice and worked to give children in the juvenile justice system the support they needed. And when I asked her to swear me in, the first woman vice president, swearing in the first woman mayor of Los Angeles, we knew we were sending a message to young girls everywhere that they too can lead. Now, I know Kamala, and she feels the importance of this work in her bones. When Kamala meets a young person, you can feel her passion. You can feel her heart, and you can feel her fearlessness. That is what defines a commitment to children, being willing to fight fiercely for every child. And trust me, Kamala has done that her entire life. So this November, we're gonna fight to elect Kamala Harris as the next president of these United States.
Please welcome music star Mickey Guyton.
How y'all doing? Where the lines on the interstate, the dust on the back road, we're a Friday night fool.
important to reflect on all the incredible progress that we've made in the last 4 years. The Biden-Harris administration laid the groundwork for a stronger, more resilient nation. They invested in critical infrastructure, delivered relief when disaster struck, and made healthcare more affordable. Kamala Harris cares. And unlike Donald Trump, she has a plan, not just for the next 4 or 8 years, but for generations to come. Now, let's hear from some of my fellow state executives about how Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are investing in the long-term future for our nation.
Okay, go. I'm Pennsylvania's Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis. I'm the proud son of a union bus driver from Pittsburgh. Every day, my dad would come home and tell me about how our roads and bridges were in disrepair. President Trump promised us Infrastructure Week over and over again. He really didn't care, though, and it never happened. But President Biden and Vice President Harris are on our side. They brought together Democrats and Republicans to get it done. We got I-95 in Philly fixed in less than 2 weeks. We repaired the Fern Hollow Bridge in Pittsburgh in record time. Right now, we're repairing roads and bridges across Pennsylvania, including in Pittsburgh, the city of bridges. And Vice President Harris is looking forward. She's committed to keeping our infrastructure safe and modern. When I think about the future, I think about my daughter Harper and all of America's children. Investing in them means investing in our infrastructure. It means replacing millions of lead pipes. It means providing clean air, clean water, safe roads and bridges, not just for us, but for generations to come. That's the legacy that President Biden is leaving our children. Let's keep building bridges to the future with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Let's work.
In Wisconsin, we also need leaders by our side. I'm Wisconsin's Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez, but long before I took office, I was a registered nurse. I served in the Peace Corps at the height of HIV/AIDS and in Baltimore emergency rooms at the height of the heroin and gun violence epidemics. During the COVID pandemic, Trump and Wisconsin Republicans failed to protect our health. That's why I ran for office and flipped a red district blue. Because once a nurse, always a nurse. Now Trump is promising to terminate the Affordable Care Act, meddling in personal decisions between a woman and her doctor, and threatening to slash Medicare. Vice President Harris fights for our health. She'll defend women's reproductive freedom and protect Medicare and Medicaid. Thanks to the Biden-Harris administration, insulin is capped at $35 a month for seniors. And they negotiated down the prices of 10 more life-saving drugs like Eliquis and Jardiance for Americans on Medicare. Kamala will continue to take on Big Pharma and lower the cost of prescriptions for everyone. Of course, healthcare isn't just about drugs and treatment. It's about freedom. The freedom to make your own choices and the freedom to get the care you need without worrying about the cost. Kamala Harris is fighting for that healthy future.
Let me tell you all about Texas leadership. I'm County Executive Lena Hidalgo, and I serve the 5 million residents of Harris County. Harris County includes Houston. Texas Governor Ann Richards said, "I've been tested by fire, and the fire lost." In the years I've been in office, we've dealt with chemical fires. We've dealt with 10 floods, 7 hurricanes, a deadly winter freeze, and of course the pandemic. When that last disaster struck, Donald Trump abandoned us. He spread misinformation that cost lives. Compare that to 2021, when the Texas power grid went dark. Kamala Harris didn't just put out a tweet, she called me to make sure we had what we needed. Over the years, I've learned that Kamala Harris always calls. And not only does she call, she delivers. The very week she launched her campaign, she was down in Texas with vital FEMA assistance right after Hurricane Beryl. Kamala Harris cares. She will never risk lives for the sake of politics. And she's leading the charge to protect our communities from extreme weather. The Biden-Harris administration have announced at least $1 billion to help us with just that, and Houston is thriving. We deserve leaders who acknowledge the threats, heck, the existence of climate change. We deserve tough leaders who have our backs. We deserve compassionate leaders ready to help. That's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
I can personally attest that Kamala is a leader who has our back. I'm California's Lieutenant Governor, Eleni Kounalakis, but I hold another title just as dear to me, Kamala Harris's friend. I met her when we were both young women trying to navigate the halls of power. She had just been elected district attorney. We get frequent lunches together, and she was funny and fun. She was also a great mentor. Once, I told her about a professional experience of being minimized because I was a woman. She put her fork down and said, "Eleni, never let anybody make you feel small." I saw her put that creed into action. When Wall Street foreclosed on millions of homes, Washington wisdom was that $4 billion was the best you could do. Other attorneys general agreed. But because Kamala Harris grew up in a middle-class home, she knew that wasn't enough for all the working families who got screwed over. So she put her foot down and refused to settle for less. Kamala Harris won $20 billion from the big banks for California homeowners. And that's because she cares. She cares so much that if you're lucky enough to be her friend, she calls you on her birthday, and sometimes she sings to you. She called me on mine right when I had decided to run for lieutenant governor. She asked tough questions. I promised I'd follow her lead and invest in the future. Together, we shattered that glass ceiling, California, and got to work. I am so glad the country is getting to see the Kamala that I've known for decades. For Californians and Pennsylvanians, for Texans and Wisconsinites, for states red and blue and everything in between, President Biden and Vice President Harris have been investing in our future and are on our side, and we are not going back.
Do you know about Project
Far Right's playbook?
It is Trump's vision for America's future.
I'm not going to be nice.
It will ban abortion nationwide,
I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
raise taxes on middle-class families, gut Medicaid,
That's money that funds a lot of medical treatment.
strip rights from LGBTQ+ people,
Wait a minute, I'm not finished.
cut overtime pay,
It is going to affect workers' bottom lines.
give him unchecked power,
And I will wield that power very aggressively.
and it begins his first day back in office.
In an explosive undercover video, a co-author of Project 2025 saying that Donald Trump, quote, blessed the work he's doing now.
He's been at our organization. He's raised money for our organization. He's blessed it. So he's very supportive of what we do.
He doesn't want freedom. He only wants control.
I know Donald Trump's type. I'm breaking
Mallory McMorrow.
I'm Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, and this is Project 2025. Now, over the next 4 nights, you are going to hear a lot about what is in this 900-page document. Why? Because this is the Republican blueprint for a second Trump term. That's right. They went ahead and wrote down all the extreme things that Donald Trump wants to do in the next 4 years. And then they just tweeted it out, putting it out on the internet for everybody to read. So, we read it. And whatever you think it might be, it is so much worse. Tonight, I want to tell you about just one aspect of Project 2025. Its plan to turn Donald Trump into a dictator. Okay, right here on page 535, it says, quote, reissue Trump's Schedule F executive order to permit discharge of non-performing employees. Now that doesn't sound that scary, right? But here's what it actually means in plain English. If Donald Trump gets back into the White House, he's going to fire civil servants like intelligence officers, engineers, and even federal prosecutors if he decides that they don't serve his personal agenda. They're talking about replacing the entire federal government with an army of loyalists who answer only to Donald Trump. I know. All right, then. Okay. Page 873. It says, quote, Conservatives have long believed in either ending law enforcement activities of independent agencies or ending their independent status. Again, that sounds pretty boring. But what it means is that under Project 2025, Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force. That is not how it works in America. That's how it works in dictatorships. And that's exactly what Donald Trump and his MAGA minions have in mind: an expansion of presidential powers like no president has ever had or should ever have. Now, by the way, if you're asking if any of this is even legal, well, remember, thanks to Donald Trump's hand-picked Supreme Court, he's now completely immune from prosecution, even if he breaks the law. But that's not who we are, because we believe in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Not the government of Donald Trump, by Donald Trump, and for Donald Trump. We believe in the separation of powers and the rule of law. We believe in a system built up to serve everyone, not breaking a system to serve one petty, selfish man. The truth is, there's only one way to stop him, and to stop Project 2025. How do we do it? We elect Kamala Harris this November! We'll be back tomorrow night to tell you what Project 2025 means for your pocketbook.
Please welcome California Senator Lorenza Butler.
California delegates, make some noise! It's great to see so many familiar faces. And I can't forget the state that I was born and raised in. Mississippi Democrats, let everybody